Good afternoon, LinkedIn. Welcome to our Stockholm studio. I just want to take a couple of minutes to run through an FAQ that I get asked a lot: how to make better B2B videos with next level titles. We do a lot of B2B videos here in the studio and around Stockholm and the Nordics, and quite often we encounter this problem. And that is that there's a race to get the production going. And I often say to people, look, slow down. Let's think about how this production will look at the end. So start with the end in mind. And one of the ways to visualize that is to think about the piece of content living on YouTube or wherever it is you're going to post it as a title. What will that title say? Because that'll force you to do a series of steps that'll lead you to make something impactful for the audience. The first one is, what is the channel's North Star? Before you produce any content, I recommend that you actually take the time to have a mission for the content strategy. Whether that's one episode or 50 episodes, you need to be aiming for something. That's really, really important because it informs a lot of other choices that you'll make downstream. So really worth just figuring out what is it you're trying to do, what for your audience. So start with the North Star in mind. The second thing is to define that audience. Quite often we see companies starting content strategies, but they just think so broadly about the audience they're trying to communicate with. And basically it's, broadcast to everybody and therefore nobody. And that's a real problem because it's quite scary to make a choice over who this content is for. But you need to do it because otherwise you'll be talking so broadly and generally, you won't be solving anybody's needs or problems. So really spend the time to pick, types of users for your content and make decisions. Like, don't just start producing content for everybody because it'll be too broad and it won't have any impact, won't be useful for anybody. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, and once you've defined the audience, you need to then consider how you're going to help them. This is also a challenge, but you need to be clear on what it is you're trying to do. And I really recommend that all content you put out has an educational backbone to it, a structure that is basically helping, using your expertise, because this is a B2B environment. How can you use your knowledge to inform your audience and make their lives easier or better with the information you're providing? And of course, your products and services will be baked into that, but not necessarily in a hardcore salesy way. You want the sales call to action to be much further downstream than the actual content itself. You really need to be genuinely educating and helping people. And that's how you build relationships and, of course, business outcomes. The fourth thing is, once you've done those three things, you can start to think of your North Star as the jigsaw puzzle, the picture that you're trying to create. And then each episode becomes a jigsaw piece. So that also is extremely useful when you're trying to put out, a 10-minute, 5-minute, 20-minute episode. You know what the North Star is, what the big picture is. So you can say, okay, this is going to be a part of that. And this jigsaw piece is going to connect to the other pieces that you have already produced or going to produce to make the big picture. And that also informs a lot of useful factors and decisions you have to make. The fifth one is highly connected to that, which is, finding the right guests. Quite often what happens is people get a guest and then they fit the content around the guest. And that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to agree the piece of that jigsaw puzzle. What is it we need to do next in our episode, in our content, and then go find the guest for that episode. That's how you make meaningful content and tell a story and take people along for the ride, which is really critical, if we're trying to engage people in an environment where there's so much content out there. So make the decide on the piece of the puzzle, the episode, and then go find the guest for it, not the other way around. The sixth thing, which I already kind of mentioned, is you need to find your educational tone in all the content you're producing in a B2B environment. Everyone has a degree of expertise in whatever it is they're doing within their job role. Your life is unique to you, but you've got to try to find an educational tone with what you're doing, because that's how you add value at the end of the day. And you can't just jump on and start selling stuff, because that will not resonate. You have to educate people, share your knowledge, help improve their lives or jobs in a genuine way, and then good things will flow. The final thing, number 7, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's tons and tons of content out there. So if you have an episode in mind for a video, a podcast, a live show, go out there and find out what is already out there. Try to find clips or videos that have gone viral or have a degree of success, and use those to educate, plan out your episodes and plan out your channel. So don't be afraid to do that. And with all of these tips, of course, we're going to use AI tools now to support and inform those choices. So use whatever AI large language model you're using to basically help challenge your thinking in these areas. And it can really speed things up. And if you prompt it in the right way, the results are breathtaking. It can really guide you on an individual episode level, but also on a series. If you're creating a new series of content or channel, it can really help with that. So use AI as a caddy, if you like, for improving. So yeah, that's it. Probably the most important of those 7 things is have a North Star for your content. Don't just start recording for no reason. Try to have a North Star, and then from there, everything else will follow, including next level titles, which will make your B2B videos even better. So thank you for your time. Appreciate that. Until the next time, have a great Wednesday afternoon. Thank you.